Welcome back to Harley's Throttle Juice. Roger Brooks here. I am at Central Coast Harley-Davidson with the wonderful Sandro.
Morning. How are you, mate?
It's been a while since you've been on the Harley Throttle Juice channel.
It has been.
Where have you been?
Working.
You've been avoiding us. Working? Working and riding around.
But I just came back from a 4,000 kilometer lap of the Philippines, my home country.
What did you ride over there?
I rode a Honda CB500X.
What was your dad on?
That was on a Kawasaki Versys 650.
Heard a lot of good things about those.
They're great, and honestly, for like that country, you don't want anything bigger. There, Harleys and really big adventure bikes and stuff exists.
Yeah.
But they're used at a like much smaller level than we have here. Over there, if you've got a 500, that's like a massive mega bike.
That's like a bagger over there.
Yeah. That's, you know, like it's everyone's riding 125cc Honda Super Cubs.
Yeah.
So anything 500 is mind blowing.
Correct.
So
now, why are we here today? We are here today, Sandro, because after a 3-year hiatus.
Yeah. So Harley have been out of learner bike market for new bikes since 2020 when they discontinued the previous Street 500. Now they've introduced the new X series of bikes. So we have the 350 over here and the 500.
I'm loving the look of the 500, by the way.
Over there.
Beautiful.
Now these smaller bikes have always been a pretty good seller for Harley, and now that the emerging markets of Asia, India are starting to have a bigger influence in marketing, manufacturing, distribution decisions of Harley, the demand for smaller bikes is starting to increase.
Yeah.
In fact, and Harley actually built these together with Benelli.
Yep, that's right.
So the 350 and the 500 engines and partial frame are derived from similar Benelli models.
Well, specifically the 500, in my opinion, has that distinct Benelli look about it.
Yeah, there is, and of course, like this is, I think, Harley's first ever parallel twin, production parallel twin. To my knowledge.
Yeah.
Perhaps maybe in the old times, Harley prototype parallel twins. Maybe there's one in the museum that I don't know about, but I've never been, so I can't say. Or there's some secret files out there I don't know about, right? But man, these are a fantastic offering by Harley, and at the price points of $8,500 in any of the 4 colors, white, black, orange, and silver, and $11,500 for the 500, you get a lot.
Yeah, and that's basically close enough to the price point that the Street 500s were.
Yeah.
And I think, and you're about to explain some of the reasons why, but I think arguably there's a lot more value in this range than the Street 500.
There is, and the quality of components and the way the bike rides are far better.
What would be some of the key reasons why these ride better than a Street 500?
Well, we've got upside down forks now.
Yep.
You know, like the 500's got these giant 50 millimeter upside down front forks, and like your Street Glide, Roger, as for 40 grand doesn't even have upside down forks.
Leave that bit out. Good point. Good point.
Like you've got double disc brakes now, and like the radial mounted calipers.
Yeah.
Like there's some really nice performance features, very comfortable, easygoing wide holding riding
I was about
position.
to say, how would you compare the riding position of these and what you believe Harley would be targeting, what part of the market Harley would be targeting based on the rideability of these when compared to a Street 500?
Yeah, no, really good question. So they've gone to a standard motorcycle riding position. So yes, we're used to our cruisers and the riding position that follows that. Feet forward or maybe feet slightly ahead if you're mid-controlled. But here, Harley have gone to the standard position, which is sort of feet under your hips.
Yeah.
And my speculation would be to appeal to a wider market.
Yep.
You know, everyone is after a cruiser.
Correct.
But if you give yourself a standard riding position bike, it's a bike that'll appeal to anybody and everybody. Because cruisers might not fit certain types of people, or that's not the type of bike that they're looking for the most part.
As much as I enjoyed learning and riding my red Street 500 back in the day, I always was a little bemused at the term cruiser when it was related to the Street 500, because for me it was always caught in no man's land in terms of what type of bike it was. Not in terms of the engine capacity, but just picking up on your point there, looking at these, I honestly think these are going to appeal to a much broader market, a much broader range of riders.
Yeah, definitely.
Right, riders that may even get turned off with the terminology of cruiser, and they look at these and they think, no, this is a more unique, versatile and practical riding experience for me. Yeah. To start my journey on.
Yeah, definitely.
Or even people that
points.
aren't huge, aren't tall. They might be mid-height, but not overly confident on a motorbike, and they can jump on something like the 500. And have a great riding experience. Yeah,
exactly. And the 350 is like the perfect example for that. Perhaps you're a medium-sized person and you're so fresh to riding and motorbikes that your confidence level isn't that high, and that's great, and that's more than fair enough. What's nice about the 350 is like the seat is high enough that maybe someone up to 5'8", 5'7" would be very comfortable on it. Yeah. But the 350 is low powered and manageable enough that it won't rocket off away from you from the lights when you're unprepared, or the bike is small and light and maneuverable enough to
perfect for a little cruisy,
move it around.
1, 2, 3 hour ride. Maybe not on a motorway. Some almost like a cafe racer type feel.
Well, definitely, and you can even tell in the styling of the 350 that, well, not quite cafe racer, but it's very XR 750 derived in the shape of the fuel tank and the rear fender.
Absolutely.
You can really see that in the 350.
I think it's a great point, because there is clearly a distinction between the two bikes. It's a lot more than just engine capacity, and I think Harley have done a great job by introducing two bikes to a lamb's range, but diversifying each one. Each one's unique to one another, don't you think?
Yeah, no, 100%. And like I was saying earlier, there's some really great engineering that goes into this.
Yeah.
Like trellis frame, suspended stress member engine, tube swing arm, upside down forks with wave rotors.
I love the wave rotors.
Like, guys, like when we're buying wave rotors out of Harley or Galfer or whatever, man, and they're like $400 each, and now we have this $8,500.
Sell it, Sandro, sell it.
350 learner bike that's gone on factory, you know?
Yeah.
It's just awesome features for sub 10 grand. And that's 8.5 ride-aways. That's with the 12 months rego and the 2-year warranty and everything else that comes with it. Like, it's great. You even get a toolkit.
Wow.
Like, you get a toolkit, you even get a document folder. Harley pulled document folders out of the big twins in like 2018 or 2019, I can't remember. And you get them all back. It's really, really interesting. They've gone quite all out with.
So in terms
with
of
these.
a key feature, if someone was coming in here and said, I'm kind of confident enough to ride each of these options, I'm on the fence. I don't ride big Ks on motorways where I'm going to get buffeted around. I'm kind of sitting on the fence between the 350 and the 500. Obviously, I'd like to save money, but it doesn't really matter. I'm happy to pay a 500 price. What are some of the key features of a Street 500? Why would someone go the 500 instead of the 350?
Yeah, okay, that's a really, really valid question. So, the 350, the 500, it's got a bit more power than the 350.
Obviously, yeah.
So maybe you're a experienced rider in terms of riding off-road bikes and you want to get into maybe your first road bike, then the 500 would be a great start for you.
Yep.
And if you're coming from that place, which a lot of our customers do because they live out in the country, up in the Central Coast, Hunter Valley, Newcastle, whatever.
Yep.
They all have off-road riding background.
Yeah.
And with the wide pro taper bars, standard riding position, gripper seat, you'll feel right at home on a 500.
That gripper seat looks fantastic.
And the 350 as well.
Yeah, they both got them. That's fat bobby shit, isn't it?
Yeah, it does. You've got the gripper, you've got like even just the pleats and the stitching there. It looks fantastic. Adjustable rear shock, just like your Street Glide has, so you can adjust the stiffness of the rear spring for body weight. The 350 does not have this. You have to adjust it by spanner, but it is still adjustable.
Yep.
Like I mentioned earlier in the video, the 50 millimeter upside down forks and the double disc brakes are much bigger here than the 350s with the radial mount caliper rather than the axial mount.
Fantastic.
So this sort of caliper design is more resistant to the caliper moving in relation to braking action. So you get more feel.
So again, that could be coming back to rideability, rider experience.
Yeah.
Where you want to ride it, how you want to ride it.
Correct. So it's maybe someone who is maybe slightly more experienced, and of course the new riders as well, is that you have this package that is designed to deliver a certain level of riding experience.
Yeah.
Whereas, not to knock the previous 500, but the previous 500 was built to a price point, and the single front rotor, especially in a 15 or 16 one, was a little bit lacking.
Yeah.
The rear suspension was a bit lacking, and the front was great and comfortable, but it was quite soft.
Yeah, I agree.
Whereas here, the bikes are very well suspended, extremely well braked. One of our regular customers, who's a riding instructor, I tossed him the keys of these the other day, and he loves them.
Yeah, really.
He goes, they're a fantastic place to start.
Interesting.
You know, the clutch action is really, really light. The engine is responsive and lively, but not so like low powered and untorquey that it's easy to stall.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, he said like if I could get a fleet of these for all my students,
interesting.
He would.
Interesting. Well, I think it's about time I got on one. What do you think?
Yeah, man. Go for a ride.
Give it a
I'd love
rip.
to hear what you think.
Okay.